يا حبيبي يلا يا حبيبي يلا يا حبيبي يلا يا حبيبي يلا
Good morning. It's a beautiful Saturday in Phoenix, and today is going to be a special road trip celebrating 10 years that I've known about or been intrigued by or enjoyed the first generation Acura TLX. Of course, this car dates back to 2014. It was first shown at the Detroit Auto Show in January of 2014. The first time I actually drove one, I think, was on a short test loop with a friend of mine at the dealership in Tempe, Arizona. But the first time I really got a taste of the TLX would have been in February 2015 when I took a black car on a road trip through the northeastern part of Arizona on about a 6 to 7 hour loop with some friends. So today I'm recreating that drive loop 10 years later. As a matter of fact, the trip with that TLX was 10 years ago yesterday, February 21st, 2015. And we're going to see how some of the scenery and roadways have changed a little bit and hopefully be able to recreate some of those pictures. So let's get on the road. Approaching the Queen Creek Tunnel from 1953. Pretty cool feat of engineering when it was built. Sorry, 1952. I was off by a year. Here's my first photo recreate as I'm pulled over here on the side of the road just on the east end of the Queen Creek Tunnel. You can see cars coming through it right there. And this was 10 years ago, February 21st, 2015. The car right there was my press car. It was a brand spanking new, I believe it had the espresso kind of brown leather interior, but this is definitely largely the same 10 years later. Obviously they're doing some road construction right now and I don't have free run of the place because there's a few other people hanging out, but fun to see this area again. And here's the view from the other direction where we were parked. That was my friend Matt's BMW M3 in beautiful Dakar yellow, but don't have the parking exact, but it's pretty good. "10 years later." Too bad that motorhome really ruined my shot today, but that's the brakes. Miami, Arizona. Like many small Arizona remote towns, this one got its start as a mining town. You can see here a caterpillar inside the bed of a larger dump truck style mining truck. And this is called Bullion Plaza Cultural Center and Museum, established 1923, just over 100 years ago here in Miami. Nothing like that Valencia red paint on the TLX. It is on fire this morning. This is Old Main Street in Miami, and it's since been bypassed by Highway 60 that we were on a second ago, making this even more of a ghost town than it otherwise would have been. There's not much going on here this morning on a Saturday. It looks like the Emporium Mall is kind of closed today. There's an old ride. Sleepy little western town. In fact, I see one more street to the left that we'll go scope out as well. About to make my way into what's called the Salt River Canyon. It's a really dramatic series of switchbacks that descend into the base of the canyon. And there's a cool bridge down there that I'm gonna get some pictures at. Just pausing in the middle of my roller coaster ride here to show you this dramatic Salt River Canyon. It is such a cool piece of road that curves around here at the base of the canyon. And there's a hairpin turn down at the bottom. And I think just prior to that, there's a rest area somewhere. So let's finish out this drive, and then basically it curves on up the other side. We obviously cross over what's the Salt River. I think I can see the edge of a bridge there. There were two bridges, one that's an older original bridge and the newer one that bypassed it. So let's keep on cruising down the canyon. There you can see the dual bridges. The one on the left is obviously the newer one. The one on the right was the original. Gonna hike down to the water level. On a not breezy day, you can hear the river flowing from here. I can faintly hear it right now. So I'll go ahead and park the car. You can see the road cut leading up the other side of the canyon. So that's the way we're headed after this. Work our way down here, get some steps in this morning. And look behind me at the two bridges. See how close we can get to going underneath the nearest one here. Perfect morning for a hike anyway. And look at that, we are right there. As a matter of fact, I can go underneath at least the first one here, and then, yeah, both sides. So complete access here, and kind of have the place to myself this morning, which is awesome. There's the span of bridge number 1 and bridge number 2. You can see how vastly modernized the new one is, and much wider, of course. Unfortunately, I don't have cell signal down here. I was gonna Google around and see what the date is on this older one, but I'll check that later and maybe post it somewhere in the video. Beautiful down here. There again is the road that we're gonna be heading up after this, cutting along the cliffside there. This portion with steps right here is now blocked off from formal access, although I did venture over the fence just for a second so I can check it out. One of my favorite channels, and by the way, I think he'll probably never watch mine, but I'm not a big enough deal, but Sidetrack Adventures. If you ever get the chance and you want to learn about old roadways, check out Steve's channel. I don't know why there would be a road down here parallel to the river itself, but maybe it predates even the bridge, the first bridge. For sure looks like at some point it was cleared here for some type of traffic, and gives me an opportunity to research that tonight when I get home. Here's the old bridge, which is now strictly for pedestrian use. We'll climb out here onto the middle of it and take a peek down. I do love the ornate architecture that went into it. A lot of detail there. You can even see the faint remains of the center stripe here. I had to highlight this. Even the bathroom is architecturally kind of cool. Look at the circle-inspired themes here. But the best part is, you guys remember the 90s S? There it is. Another view looking up toward the road we came down a little while ago. Should also mention this is the first road trip I've taken this car on since it had 2 recalls performed, one on the fuel pump and one on the connecting rod bearings, and happy to report that it's doing awesome. Okay, here's another recreate that I'm working on from the trip 10 years ago. Here's the location where on our trip we stopped with a Lexus RCF right there. This sign has of course since been added, but that's more or less the gist of it. Fitting that the RC was a similar color to the TLX, so that's pretty cool. Here's the spot where we had lunch that day on the group drive. It's a Mexican restaurant called Lecano's. So in recreation fashion, I'm gonna have lunch here again right now, and they just opened 7 minutes ago, so perfect. Starting my return trek now after lunch. It was delicious. And this area is pretty quiet today for a Saturday. It does have a kind of peak tourist season in the summertime when everybody from Phoenix is looking to get out of the heat, because it does stay typically about 20 degrees or more cooler up here in the mountains. But I'm taking a different way back home. This is a counterclockwise loop that's going to take me here on Highway 260 toward Payson, Arizona, and then we connect with Highway 87, which feeds me back into the northeast part of the Phoenix area. Look who I found up here. It's Herbie. Awesome. Love a good slug bug. Just made my last fuel stop in Payson, Arizona. The car's getting about 29 mpgs, which is pretty good from this 3.5 liter V6. That's a wrap on a successful TLX trip. Thanks for joining us.